Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Thanks for joining us early. Who here wanted to be an entrepreneur when they grew up? Yeah, just about everybody in the room. Many of you know I'm a serial entrepreneur, so I'm incredibly excited to be with these amazing guests this morning. The normal route of an entrepreneur is you go to high school, hopefully eventually maybe you go to college, you become a student of industry, you get a job, you learn a little bit, and a little bit later on in that career you take a risk and you get the bug and maybe you start your own business and you become an entrepreneur. Well, these three did it a little bit differently. At age 14, at age 13, and at age 11, they started their own businesses, which is pretty incredible. And let me make some introductions. I'm going to start with ladies first. Alina is the ripe old age of 14. Alina was the youngest person ever on the cover of Entrepreneur magazine, and that was in 2018. She also was InStyle magazine's named 219 one of the 50 badass women in the US. That's pretty cool at 14 years old. Michelle Obama was also on that list, so she was in pretty good company. Brennan is now 19, started his company, I believe, when he was 13, somewhere in that range. He not only has started his own company, but he's now also making acquisitions of other companies at the ripe old age of 19. Not achieving very much. And then we have Carson Kropfel. Carson started his business, I think, around the age of 11 or 12.
11.
Yeah. And you were on Shark Tank.
Correct.
Right? So how about having the Shark Tank guys bid to become an investor in your business? Richard Branson ended up outbidding the other guys, the other Shark Tank guys, I think Mark Cuban as well. And now Richard Branson is your partner.
That's correct.
Yeah, amazing. So why don't we start, tell us a little bit about the businesses that you developed. So we'll start ladies first.
So like Bill said, my name is Alina Morse. I'm 14 years old, and I'm the CEO of a candy company called Zali Candy, which is an all-natural, sugar-free candy brand that actually cleans your teeth. So it has xylitol and erythritol in it, which naturally raises the pH in your mouth, neutralizes the acid, and actually strengthens your tooth enamel. So it takes away the bacteria that causes cavities and tooth decay. I came up with the idea for my company when I was 7 years old. We started selling when I was 9. We've been selling for about 4.5 years in the US and internationally. And, I'm so happy to be here. And yeah.
14. Brennan, tell us about your business.
Yeah, so
Hoop Swag?
Hoop Swag, yeah. So basically, long story short, what we do, we take white socks that we developed our own brand from China, and we basically have manufacturing warehouses out in Oregon, which is actually where I live, that we do all the printing process on. So when I first started it, a lot of it was around I was in love with basketball, therefore the name Hoop Swag. And we started doing a lot of cool designs that you would wear and all my friends would wear. And now, sort of in the future, we're moving towards a lot of customization. So I don't know if you guys have seen pictures of dogs or the ads for dogs on socks, or you send us a picture of your face on a sock. We've been doing a lot of we're headed in that direction. And so moving away from just cool socks to actually personalizing them. So.
Yeah, and Carson, by the way, has got the coolest name that I've come across in a long time in the industry. He's Chief Fun Officer, right? How's that? How's that? I want that title.
Yeah.
Tell us, what are you doing?
I make skateboards that I make a sustainable line of skateboards that fit inside backpacks and lockers. I started when I was 11. I was just cutting down old skateboard decks to fit inside my backpack and locker because none of my skateboards could. And then after I started kind of doing this, my parents told me that I had to clean and do chores to pay for my surf contest and surf lessons. But who likes cleaning? I hate cleaning. So I asked them if I could try selling locker board instead. I was on Shark Tank. 3 sharks battled to invest in my company: Robert Hedgevac, Mark Cuban, and Richard Branson. And I ended up choosing Richard Branson because He's Richard Branson. And he invested the most amount of money, $65,000 for 20% of my company, and we also had a connection. He told me that I reminded him of himself when he first started his business. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a pretty good compliment that he reminded you
Yeah.
of him.
Yeah.
So your lives obviously have changed pre-starting your businesses to post, although you're all quite young, so you didn't have a lot of before you started your businesses. But how's your life changed? How do you balance it all? So we'll start with Elena.
Well, I mean, I would say my life hasn't changed all that much because I grew up with my company. I came up with the idea at 7, and we've been selling for about 4.5 years. I've been doing business half my life. And so it was never really an adjustment, and it never really changed my life. It always kind of felt like an extracurricular activity, like after-school sports, and that was, normal. All kids had things going on after school, and so I feel like this was just my sport. It was my extracurricular activity.
So instead of after-school soccer, you had after-school business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
After
Wow.
school, being a CEO.
Yeah. Brennan?
So I'm 2 years out of high school now, and so in the past 2 years, my life has changed a lot because I actually get to work on my company full time. But going through high school, I'm not gonna lie, it was not easy. There was a lot of time management and sort of trying to fit in. How do you run a company and then also go to school? And I graduated with actually good grades. I didn't fail out. I schemed the system in high school a little bit, but I did graduate. And so the past 2 years for me have been really cool to actually focus on my business. But definitely growing up, it's not easy. I didn't spend a lot of time with friends. I didn't get to do all that fun stuff, right, necessarily. But it's sort of a trade-off of it, in my opinion, a sacrifice. But working on my company full time has made me certainly a lot happier. I wasn't very happy when I was in school, really. But so for the past 2 years, that's been a big change for me.
And Carson?
Before I started Lockerboard, I feel like it was really boring before I started a company. I feel like, because now I always have kind of something to do, something to focus on. And before I started Lockerboard, I was always on my phone. I was surfing a lot, skating a lot. But now that I have a business, I have other things to do other than just sitting on my phone and going surfing. But yeah, it was just a pretty big change for me because I've always been a really active kid, and I feel like I haven't done as many sports, but I still have my business, and then I get to go have fun with my friends at school, and I get to go surf, and then I get to go work some more. So, yeah.
Sounds pretty nice. I
I
live in
know.
Michigan. There's no ocean there.
God.
Yeah, lakes.
So this is a multiple packed question that I want each of you to answer. How many employees do you have? Do you have outside investment in your companies? And can you disclose the current size of the revenue of your businesses? We'll start again, Elena.
Yeah, so we directly employ 10 employees. We're on the hunt for more and more every day, trying to grow our Zali team. But really, we estimate we impact about 3,000 jobs through the whole manufacturing, warehouse packing, and all of that. What was the next part of the question?
Size of the business.
Size of the company.
Yeah.
So, like I said, we've been selling for about 4.5 years. Every year we've doubled in sales. This year we're on set to triple. Last year we did about $6 million at retail. It came out to be about $2 million.
Very nice. Brennan?
Yeah, so a little bit of context. We do 80% of our sales going into Christmas, and so we beef up on people a lot. So this year we're going to end up having about 200 actual people doing our manufacturing in Oregon, and then there's another probably 100 to 150 people that do online, literally cropping pictures of dogs. It's ridiculous. So that's sort of our team. We're probably going to be around 250 for Christmas this year. And then in terms of size of our company, we did about 1.8 million last year, and we're on track to do somewhere around 2.5 to 3 this year. So.
And how do you get people to pay $15 for socks? That's right? That's your price point?
Well, actually, the 25.
Now 25.
So the crazy part was like the hard part is getting them in their hands, but the socks are actually really good quality. And we found that like we will literally send socks out for free to people because once they have them in their hands, they just keep buying them over and over. And the reality is socks are like the #1 gift item for Christmas, and people just come back and buy them every year. So it's a matter of literally continuing to like build a good customer base and just hitting them over and over again.
And Carson, size and investment and number of people that work for you?
So I work with my mom, my dad, my dog Snickers. He's like kind of my mascot. Yeah, Snickers. And then I also have a manufacturer that assembles the boards. And then I have a team at the Virgin Group that's working with me with locker boarding, kind of helping me out. And otherwise, I can't really get into that information, but I've sold about 1,000 skateboards since I was 11. How many years? 3 years. And my company is valued at $325,000.
Today.
Yeah.
Can I buy some stock?
Sure.
So you're probably all managing people around you that are older than you and talking about the business and the work and giving direction. How's that? Because you grew up with parents and people always telling you what to do, and now you're running your own companies and you're in charge. How does that feel, managing and trying to motivate people that 2-3 times your age sometimes? And do you employ kids your age in your businesses?
I don't know if I would trust kids my age. I'm gonna be honest with you. But it's really fun. I mean, whenever we get the tax returns back, I'm like, wow, like my dad works for me. And then I remember he can take my phone at any moment, so I better contain my excitement. It's definitely is an interesting concept, having people, almost decades older than you working for you. And it can seem a little intimidating on how you handle certain situations, but I would say at Zali Candy it's more of a team. Everything is very collaborative. We have a very open office space, and one of our biggest things about the company is never assume. So we're constantly talking to each other, we're constantly collaborating, and there's never really a power struggle. And so, it's just a really great system that we have in place that, everyone respects each other, and everyone is good at different things. But you don't assume that because you're good at something that you're always right. So, it's important to work as a team and, get stuff done.
It sounds like a very collaborative effort, and
Exactly.
It sounds like, you have a lot of wisdom for your age, and you take in a lot of different people's opinions, and you come to some kind of consensus.
Exactly,
So it
yeah.
kind of sounds like, but I'm sure you're tough. You sound like you can be tough. Yeah.
Well, you gotta be.
Yeah.
Gotta
Have
be
you
tough in
fired anybody?
business. Man, I don't know if fired is the right word.
Terminated?
That's sure not the word I used.
So
but
what do you use? Help me. Let me learn. What word do you use?
I just don't think this partnership is working out. I mean, it's not you.
Right. Right.
It's us.
Yeah.
But mostly you. No, I'm just kidding.
Makes sense.
You just got to find the right people.
Yeah.
And, sometimes it's just not right. And if it's not right, then it's not helping you or them.
Yeah.
So, not saying I'm doing them a favor, but it's you want to find the right people that are going to be equally as passionate about your company as you are. And I live by that. I think that that's so important.
Yeah.
To surround yourself with people that are supportive and passionate and motivated. So, yeah.
Carson?
It was kind of ironic because my parents were always telling me what to do. Now I kind of
Tell them.
tell them, yeah. But yeah, it's great working with people older than me, I feel like, because they're more wise and they could help me out with my company and running the business. Because I feel like they have more wisdom. And yeah, they help me out with the business, and yeah.
So would you say, is your expertise much more on the product design and product development side of the business? Or are you now getting sucked up into the management decisions of the company?
Yeah, kind of like the design of the boards
Yeah.
and all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Brennan, your management style and people working older than you that are working for you, and how many people have you had to hire or have a nice conversation, like Alina said, about maybe things just not being the right fit?
Yeah, so I started this in my garage. So by the time I was like 15, I was like, who do I hire? I can't keep making all these socks. So I ended up hiring my mom's friend. What that turns out to now is basically we employ all of these part-time moms who drop their kids off at school, and then they come work and talk about mom stuff, and then they go and pick their kids up, and the hours work, and it's cool for them because otherwise they wouldn't necessarily be working because it's just really wacky hours. But one thing I did learn is I'm not great at management because I don't know what I'm doing, right? I'm 17, 18 trying to manage all these people. So about 2 years ago, I ended up hiring both my parents work full-time for the company now. And so my mom's role is more of an HR sort of overseeing all the management stuff. And I try to learn from them because of the fact that I realize I don't know. I'm not clueless, but I don't know how to manage people as well as someone who's been in the industry for 20 years. And so that's honestly, that's one of my biggest struggles is building a culture, because I've become very apparent in the past 6 months, you need a good culture or else everything else kind of ends up crumbling around you. And the people are going to be the core of the company. And so that's been a learning lesson, and that's probably one of the things I'm weakest at, and I know that, and I'm working on it, but management has been very tough for me, honestly.
It's an everyday learning process.
Yeah.
So there are obviously highs and lows in the businesses. Share a little bit about any times you really felt you faced adversity. I know I faced adversity a whole bunch of time in my businesses at various points in time, but where you faced adversity and we're almost at the point where you were going to throw in the towel, or you just jumped over that hurdle. And sometimes we chatted about ignorance is bliss. Sometimes what you don't know is better than what you do know. But any adversities along the way where you said, "Holy shit, how am I going to get through this?"
Hey, I'm only 14.
Oh, sorry. Apologize.
You get in trouble. Trying to get me grounded?
Uh-oh.
I'll start, I guess.
Yeah.
So,
darn it. Yeah.
So when I first started Locker Board, it was my first year of middle school. I feel like a lot of my friends were really supportive, but then there's a couple kids that were not that were kind of making fun of me and stuff, and it was kind of hard to get over that. I feel like, because I was just no one likes what I'm doing and stuff. But then I kind of realized to tune out the negativity and tune in the positivity and surround myself with positive people.
Yeah.
So
Sounds like there was a bit of envy there.
yeah,
Some of those people, you were making a difference and you were leaning in, and there was a little jealousy and envy, and you just kind of let that roll off your shoulders and just keep moving forward.
yeah.
Alina, you?
Well, for those of you that don't know, the candy industry is dominated by men, old men. And I mean, no, and they're selling to children, and I'm kids should be the one creating candy to sell to other kids. I mean, these old men, they don't know what kids want. They've been doing the same thing for 50 years, and I'm what? And I'm walking into these meetings and I'm meeting these people, and they're incredible CEOs and they know what they're doing, and I'm just how are they the main drivers in this industry? And being a young woman, meeting all these people are like, oh, you're a CEO? Oh. I'm yeah.
Yeah.
But I definitely have faced some adversity in the sense that people don't necessarily believe that I'm doing what I'm saying I'm doing,
Yeah.
that I'm actually working, that I'm actually running a company, and that I've assembled this team of people that are just trying to make a difference. And at the end of the day, I've just kind of realized it doesn't matter what people think. It doesn't matter if you've been in the industry for 50 years and you've been doing the same thing. There's change is going to come, and you just kind of realize, I'm doing what I'm doing because I want to, not because of what other people say, not because, this will be the most popular thing, or, I'll get a bunch of press because I'm a kid. No, I'm doing this because I want to make a difference. And, the people that don't believe that, kids can run companies, well, good luck, because
Yes, they're
Gen Z
lost.
is coming. And
Exactly. That's a great attitude. And Brennan?
Yeah, mine's a little bit more like technical, I guess. But so we do all of our sales during Christmas, and we basically about 2 years ago, we were doing like 80% of our sales on Amazon, which was great until they decided to someone really screwed us over and filed this fake scam thing, and we got shut off during our 3 most revenue high days. And it pretty much would have wiped us completely out of business, because that's where all of our cash is. I spend all my money on inventory for Christmas, and all of a sudden now it's not there and it's going to sit there. And it was one of those things where I kind of had to I was literally getting a quick little loan from family and friends to pull this together. And it was one of those things it happened in 12 hours. And if we hadn't done that, I would not be sitting here right now probably. We would have gone under just because we really got screwed. But it was one of those things where and that's a very specific example, I realize, but it's kind of a matter of okay, we're going to sit here and well, that sucks, or are you just going to hop into it and figure out how you're going to find a solution? Because that's kind of, I feel and on a smaller level, it happens pretty much every day in every company. Stuff just goes wrong and you got to fix it. I think more of myself as a problem solver than I run a company. I just solve problems that break all day. So
damage control.
yeah.
When we chatted upstairs for a little while, I was telling you a little bit about some lessons I learned along the way. And you must get earfuls of advice from people, because for some reason they probably think you need it because you're so young, and the reverse is probably true. You could give people a lot of great advice, again, because sometimes what you don't know is better than what you do know. But share with me a little bit, what's the best piece of advice that you've received from somebody, whoever that person is, and what advice would you give, someone, young entrepreneur, or any entrepreneur who now is thinking about starting a business? So we'll go again, ladies first.
I would say, my first piece of advice is ask questions. I feel especially adults that are trying to start companies, usually run into issues or ultimately fail because they don't know what they're doing and they're too afraid to ask. They're too afraid to compromise their ego, compromise their dignity, just to ask questions and figure out, how I can make this better. How do I do this? And me starting out so young and being a curious kid who just wanted to make candy so that my parents couldn't say no to me, I asked so many questions, and to this day, I keep asking questions, and I think it's so important to continue to learn and continue to grow and continue to be curious. And then, a piece of advice that my dad has always told me ever since I was probably 4 or 5, and he read me the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He said, Alina, you can do anything if you work hard, try, believe, and never give up. So that's, something I tell people, because it's a short, easy to remember sentence, but if you say it enough, it'll just stick in your head and you'll think, okay, I can do anything if I work hard, try, believe, and never give up. So.
Brennan?
Yeah, so as much as I was not a fan of high school, my best advice actually came from my first class of my freshman year. And this guy basically, I walk into this class and he's like, yeah, so what are you gonna learn? And I was like, aren't you the teacher? And what ended up happening was the way this class was structured, it was actually a learn on your own, so self-paced learning. And I realized that's like when I really started to like expand the business, was when I fundamentally understood like how I learned, which for me is like through video. But like whatever it is for anyone, like to understand how you learn allows you to go do all this different stuff. Because like with a business, you end up doing, you fill all roles, right? And so with all these resources that are on the internet now, if you're able to go like leverage those things and be able to learn most effectively for you, you're able to like all of a sudden jump into all this different stuff a lot faster. And I mean, advice for sort of anyone that would be looking for that, I guess, would be go do things that make you extremely uncomfortable. There's a lot of stuff that I did not want to do. And like my parents encouraged it a little bit, but part of it was like, I have this weird thing where I kind of like being uncomfortable a little bit. Like I like feeling a little sick in my stomach sometimes. But sometimes that like literally 3 years ago, I would never public speak at all. And so like I realized I kind of enjoy that now. I do that. But like even stuff within the company, like I do a lot of photography and videography. I only found that out because I had to like, I was forced into filming something for my friend, and like, anyways, just do things that make you uncomfortable because you don't know how how you're going to react to them.
So can I kidnap you for a day? Because I have to tell you, I walk around the halls in my own company, and I'm constantly preaching that my employees don't make me feel uncomfortable enough. I need to be felt more uncomfortable. We need to take more risks. If you don't take risks, you know, failure is not a bad thing. You've got to take risks and make you feel uncomfortable. And the fact that you know that at such an early age, you're going to go to the moon with your business. I'm convinced of that. Carson, what about you?
My best piece of advice that was given to me was from Richard Branson. And
You call him Mr. Branson? You call him Richard? What do you call him?
Richard or Sir,
Sir.
Richard Branson. But yeah, his advice that he gave to me was to delegate. I think that's like a important part of a business, to delegate, but sadly I can't delegate homework.
Right.
So yeah, but I feel like the best piece of advice that I can give is to seize the moment, never give up, and to believe in yourself. So when I was like 8 years old, 5 years ago I think, yeah, that's not 8, but okay, anyways, I was on a family vacation in the mountains, and one morning we're going to get some breakfast. We're in the elevator going downstairs to go to the buffet, and a man walked into the elevator wearing a Shark Tank sweatshirt. And my dad asked him if he's been on Shark Tank, but he said that his name was Max, and he's actually one of the executive producers of Shark Tank. And my family loves Shark Tank. It's like honestly like the best show in the world. So, and I had this business called Street Tubes. I haven't sold it yet, but it's basically what Street Tubes is there's this thing called tarp surfing, and it's basically where you take a big tarp and you weight down 3 of the ends, and then one end you pull to make it like a wave, and you would skate on the tarp like through the wave, acting like you're getting tubed. And yeah, and I made this company called Street Tubes, and instead of the big square tarp, it's just a triangle, basically. And instead of skating on the tarp, you skate on the street. It's safer. Anyways, I had this company, Street Tubes, at the time, and I literally gave Max an elevator pitch in an elevator about Street Tubes when I was like 8 or 7. Yeah. And he just said that my company was too small to go on Shark Tank, and he gave me his business card, and he said to keep in touch. If I didn't give Max an elevator pitch, I probably wouldn't be sitting here today. You have to seize the moment, and if you see someone important, live up to it. Yeah, they could say, like, even asking for help. If you see someone important, like, hey, can I have some help? They're either going to say yes or they're going to say no, and it's a 50% chance. So why not?
Yeah.
You know? Never give up. It took me 4 years to get on Shark Tank, and throughout those years, I would contact Max every 6 months, giving him updates, and I just never gave up, you know? And then I finally made it on Shark Tank after I created Locker Board. So never give up and believe in yourself, because if you don't believe in yourself, no one else will.
Yeah, and I call that, another cliche, going the extra mile, and it really, really means something because there's less traffic at the extra mile, and by you never giving up and staying in touch and contacting him, you kind of went that extra mile, and again, there's less traffic there, there's less noise there, and I'm sure all of you have gone that extra mile, and compared to other people your age, because you wouldn't have been able to build your businesses if you didn't go that extra mile. Now, Brennan, you're 100% full time now running the business, right? Because you're out of school, running it full time.
Yeah.
Yep. You guys are in school, and I know my business all day long, night, day. I'm on the phone, looking at emails, checking different things. How are you able to, what's your day like? How much time are you spending on the business during the day? You have your schoolwork. And how do you balance and manage all of that? Because running a business itself is a full-time job. So your brain has got to be in two places at once. How do you do that?
Yeah, so obviously I go to school 7 hours. Yay.
Are you a good student?
Oh yeah. I am. I miss a lot of school. But I'm very responsible. I get all my work done. My teachers aren't very happy that I'm not there a lot, but it's okay.
Yeah.
I only have to be with them for 3 more years? Easy. But so I go to school, and then after school I split my time into thirds. So I have 1/3 for working on the company. Also, my last hour of the day is an online class, so I can really delegate my time. I can work ahead. I can skip the class one day. And then work on it a lot. So I can go to my office, which is 2 minutes from my school, and then we work there. I can at least be with my team, even if I'm doing homework or anything else. I can still be in that business environment, which is, I feel beneficial, just being there. And then I work there, and then I do homework for the second third, and then for the third, I'm on my school's prom team. I'm also a dancer, so that.
What about, do you work weekends?
I do.
On the business?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll go into the office on a Saturday. Not usually Sundays, but Saturdays, yeah. Saturday's a free game.
And what's the office like? Do you have a corner office? Is it open? What's?
I mean, we have an office with a nice window. That's the corner office.
Okay.
The office in front of the warehouse.
Yeah.
Our office is it almost is like a co-working space, but it's not. We own we lease the building, but it's so open and so, collaborative that it almost seems like a co-working space.
Yeah.
Me and my dad have an office, and then we have our warehouse also connected to the office for, some in-house shipping. But yeah.
Yeah. And Carson, how do you balance it all?
So
Are you a good student?
yeah.
Good.
So in the morning, I usually get up, get a little bit of work done, business, and then I'll go to school, get all my work done. My teachers love me. Yeah, and then I'll get all that schoolwork done, and then when I get home, I'll usually go do a sport because it's hard for me to sit at a desk all day. I'm a very active kid. I'm always fidgeting, so I need to go get all my energy out, run around the block, and then I'll get home, do my homework, do more business work, done, eat, and then go to sleep. Yeah, that's kind of what I do.
Yeah.
I forgot about those two important things, eating and sleeping.
and
I do a lot of that.
Yeah.
So marketing, and this is advertising week, marketing is an enormous part of the whole getting the word out, awareness of your brands. Brennan, how do you handle your marketing? Do you have an advertising agency? Do you do it yourself? Who architects all of that? What's the positioning of the company from a marketing perspective? and how do you handle the marketing function at the business?
Yeah, so I do all of our own marketing. It's one of the only things that I haven't delegated out yet, honestly. That's partly because I enjoy it and like it's very data driven, which I just love numbers. So we do, it's almost all direct response, a lot of Facebook, and it's almost all starting pretty much like now through December. And then the rest of the year, we pretty much seed the market with different programs. Like I said, we just get socks in people's hands and they end up buying them. So we do a lot of like school fundraisers, like PTA stuff. We work with a bunch of like organizations, charity work. Like we just try to break even the rest of the year and get as many socks in the world as we can, and collect emails, and then they all come back during Christmas and we remarket to them. But a lot of our stuff, especially with some of the other like face and customization stuff, does extremely well for us on Facebook. So now we're expanding beyond socks to other like customized stuff, but it's all.
But it sounds like it's heavy acquisition.
Very heavy
All
acquisition.
like driving that sale.
Yeah.
What about the brand itself, Hoop Swag? Do you want that to be on everybody's lips? Do you want it? Of course you do.
I've never gotten that. Like the brand, great if people care, but like if I'm just going to drive direct acquisition anyways, it's like it's direct traffic. I mean, the socks are great. People like the socks, but I'm not sure anyone knows what Hoop Swag actually is, because a lot of our revenue comes through a brand that's called Pet Party. It's all under Hoop Swag, the company. But like me personally, my sort of take on that, I've never cared too much about the actual brand itself because of the fact that we're driving all of our traffic through acquisition.
Did you come up with the name?
Yes. Hoop Swag I did come up with. And then Pet Party was like, I use these name generator sites. And then like it came up with lit mitts. So we sell customized oven mitts. The names are getting ridiculous. And then the latest one is ring. So they're like handmade rings. This is something a little different, but it's just spelled with a Y. Get it, rings with a Y. They're all antiques, so they have a story behind them. So.
Got it.
Yeah.
Elena, how about you from a marketing perspective? And did you come up with the name Zolly Pops?
No, I actually can't take credit for that. The other stuff, yeah, pretty much. But my little sister Lola actually came up with the name. You know, some of the best things come out of kids, and you know, we were considering calling it the xylitol lollipop, and I was like, Lola, do you want to try a xylitol lollipop? And she was like, a Zolly-pop? And I was like, I mean, yeah, pretty much. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I don't know how we didn't come up with it before. It's lollipop with a Z. It's short, it's sweet, describes the product. It's perfect. And unlike Brennan, I think the branding is like really big for us. We're all about creating that brand block, all about, you know, finding those loyal customers and, you know, introducing them to all the other products that Zolly Candy, the big umbrella, has to offer. So, you know, if people are familiar with Zolly Pops, oh, well, Zolly Candy is our big brand.
Right.
You know, why don't you try Zaffy Taffy or Zolly Drops or, you know, our new line of products. Marketing-wise, we do a lot on social. It's just a really efficient way to reach a lot of different demographics, which is key for us because we fit into so many different categories. We fit into 4 multi-billion-dollar industries: functional food, which is, you know, on the rise, natural, sugar reduction, etc. But, you know, we have so many different target markets. You know, we're diabetic friendly, so we want to market to diabetics. We're keto friendly, and you know, keto is a huge thing right now, so we want to market to keto. And we're allergen friendly, so you know, families that deal with allergies, you know, we have a perfect treat for you. So you know, just finding those different demographics, and social media is a great way to do that.
And a lot of messages to get out. Now, are you both online in bricks and mortar? You in big boxes, big box retailers?
Yeah, we do all of our online through Amazon, and certain retailer websites, but a majority of our distribution is in retail. We're in about 25,000 retailers in the U.S., including Walmart, Target, CVS, Walgreens, Kroger, Whole Foods. So, you know, we're continuing to grow.
Do you go on those sales calls to pitch those retailers?
Oh, yeah.
God, I'd love to be on the other side of the table with you, and hear that. Carson, what about you from a marketing perspective? Did you come up with the name Locker Board?
Yes, I did. Actually, I made multiple prototypes of these skateboards with my dad in my garage, and we're trying to come up with a name. And then I was like, well, if it's inside of a locker, why not locker board?
Got
quite
that.
creative.
Yeah. And then
Yeah.
from a marketing perspective, are you similar?
Yeah,
Mostly
social
social
media.
acquisition, Facebook.
Yeah, all that stuff.
How has Branson helped you, or Richard, or Sir, however you
Sir.
refer to him? How has he helped you?
Insane. He has a whole group at Virgin that works with me for the company, which I love them. They're insane. They help me so much. He's taught me how to delegate. He's a great mentor, an awesome mentor. He's just helped me out a lot with the business. And yeah, overall, just a great guy.
And do each of you see yourselves growing? You know, you got your core businesses now. Obviously, you've got a bunch of product line extensions. You're doing product line extensions, and you're looking at a couple of strategic acquisitions. You seem to be like a serial developer of really cool products. Do you see this as your life work now?
Oh, 100%.
Hopefully.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
No. I don't know. I found that like I love socks when I was 13, and socks are great, but I'm not like attached to them. I don't think. I love business. Like I that's sort of what I figured I'm passionate about, and like just kind of building systems and processes like internally. That's super fun to me. But like if someone came here and like offered me enough money, I would be out of here today. Like I'm not like attached to it at all. I thoroughly enjoy it. Don't get me wrong, but like I in no way would say that I'm like. I've sort of like, it's not like it's my child, and I used to be, and it's not anymore, I think. Like, I don't know, I just like overall arching business more so than like, I'm not stuck with socks.
Okay.
Yeah, I see that. I can understand that. I mean, as of right now, like Zally Candy's my child. Like
Yeah.
my actual, like,
Your baby.
I grew it in my womb and now it is here and
Yep.
it is thriving. And I mean, like, you know, obviously we would love to sell to a large candy company one day, but you know, as of now, I just want to keep growing it. And you know, I feel like the reason I'm so attached to it is because we have so many programs in place because of our mission. And you know, well, I guess if you didn't know, our mission is to reduce childhood tooth decay because it's the single greatest epidemic facing kids in America today, according to the U.S. Surgeon General. So we give 10% of our profits to support oral health education. We have an initiative where we give free lollipops to schools for free to teach them about the importance of oral health care and entrepreneurship in young people. So I feel like that's kind of the main reason that I want to keep growing it. But I mean, business in general is my passion, so I'd be happy with anything in the future. But
Yeah. And I know, I'm sure you're all going to get a lot of temptations along the way to sell. My advice is not to. Hold on to that ownership, hold on to majority share of your business, and keep growing it because you got great ideas, and I think your businesses are going to be worth so much more further down the road than they are today, and there'll be a lot of tempting offers thrown your way, and the money sounds great, but keep growing it. We're going to do a quick lightning round, and then I'm going to open it up for a couple of quick questions. So I got some really quick questions here. So before this all happened, we'll start with you, Carson. What do you want to be when you grow up?
I wanted to be a pizza maker.
Pizza maker. Lena,
I would be a professional ballerina.
love that.
Soccer player.
Soccer player. Give me a quick fun fact about you.
I'm colorblind.
Wow.
What?
Yeah.
What?
You
Yeah.
make
Yep.
jokes about that all the time, and I didn't know
I
you were
actually am
serious.
colorblind, yeah.
Okay.
I love singing. I was the lead in my school musical.
Okay.
I surf, skate, I play football, I play golf. I just do a lot of sports.
Okay. YouTube or Netflix?
YouTube.
Grey's Anatomy, Netflix.
Netflix.
YouTube.
YouTube. Do any of you need a media agency?
No.
I will. Please help me.
We'll connect.
Yeah, I would love to. Yeah.
Wonderful. So listen, I have one of my clients is Sleep Number. And they make incredible beds, but they're all about health, wellness, technology. They're an NFL sponsor right now, and the beds that they have given the NFL players, believe it or not, the teams that have the most beds are the teams that are actually performing better in the NFL. And my Sleep Number client knew I was doing this little thing with you guys, and he wanted me to convey to you and give each of you a Sleep Number bed to help you. Yes.
I needed a new
yes,
bed.
to help you.
Rarely sleep.
To help you sleep better at night, for better performance at work, and to keep you in good health. And we'll arrange for all of that. So each of you are getting a
Thank
beautiful
you so
brand new
much.
Sleep Number bed. And,
My back is in constant.
good.
Do you
So
feel like
perfect.
Oprah?
Yeah.
Do you feel like
I
Oprah?
feel like Oprah.
you're
a
giving
little
us
bit.
like.
a little bit.
Do you wanna give me a car
A little bit like
next? I mean-
Oprah. Yeah. So we've got a couple of minutes left. I think we'll open it up to a couple of questions, and since we're a smaller, intimate group, we'll just do it right from the floor. Yeah.
I'm interested in your global aspirations. It's always tempting for entrepreneurs to grow in their national or local league, but do you have global aspirations for growth?
I mean, I do. We're currently selling internationally in China, Korea, France, the Philippines, Malaysia. We're actually the #1 selling sugar-free healthy candy in China. So that's obviously really exciting for us to continue to increase our international distribution.
For me, so we do technically ship internationally. I'd say we probably ship like 5% of our stuff internationally. Part of that being it's just so expensive. And when you're buying a $25 product, it's not crazy tempting to pay $15, like half the product cost, to have it shipped to you. So potentially in the future, but it's also like just from the little amount of research I've done, it's not like a simple just set up a warehouse in like Europe or something and do distribution there because we do all of our own production and stuff. So it makes it a bit more confusing. So I stick typically to like the US and Canada. But
Carson?
I'm starting to branch out internationally. I've been doing it all across America this entire time. And I've slowly made my way into Canada. And I've had people like all over the world asking to buy a locker board. But right now, it's like it costs more to ship the board than to actually make the board.
Wow.
So we're slowly branching out into the world and trying to just kind of figure that out, and we're slowly getting there.
Okay, Elena, you mentioned there's a couple of questions that were submitted, but you mentioned about the fact that the industry is full of men.
No offense, any men either.
No, and I think
Just saying.
that you have secured outside investment.
Yeah, so we had a small friends and family raise years ago, but really our business isn't even our business has grown so much since then. It wouldn't even be like you can't base our current valuation on anything like our valuation was when we had that raise. We're actually seeking investment right now, and so that's something that we've been working on currently. Continuing to grow the business and yeah.
Yeah. So the question: do you find it difficult in a man's world securing investment because you're a woman?
Well, I mean, not necessarily.
And a 14-year-old woman.
Well, not necessarily. The people that we've worked with that we've talked to so far are very supportive and they seem very passionate and interested in, and they want to be a part of, what we're doing, the moves or the movement that we're, I guess, starting. And so I feel like you just gotta. Well, we're really looking for passionate investors. I haven't personally struggled with any adversity in the sense that I'm a woman, so nobody wants to invest in me. But I'm sure I will.
Well, for me, I feel like I'm sitting here looking at my younger self in terms of my own entrepreneurialism and what my dreams were growing up. And you all are dreaming really big. You're an inspiration. Enjoy what you do. Keep it all in perspective. You are limited only by the boundaries of your own imagination, and you can go to much, much, much greater heights. And I know that right now you think you've like been here, but you guys are getting to the top of the highest mountains out there. I'm confident of that. Thank you for flying in. They all flew in from out of town to do this session this morning. Good luck with your businesses, and sleep well with the Sleep Number bed.
I barely get sleep. Thank you so much. Thank you, everybody.